feel like the Milwaukee Brewers have had the best starting rotation in Major League Baseball. But now it begs the question, who is going to start Game 3 of the postseason? That's next here on Locked On Brewers.
You are Locked On Brewers, your daily Milwaukee Brewers podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Good to have you along here on a Tuesday on this edition of Locked On Brewers. My name is Chuck Freimund, longtime sportscaster, proud host of Locked On Brewers, longtime sportscaster here in the great state of Wisconsin. And the Brewers have never not been division champs as long as this guy's been doing Locked On Brewers. My third season, and I love doing it. All right, coming up on the show today, Brandon Woodruff, lat strain. We don't know for sure yet if he's going to pitch in the postseason, but who would be that number 3 starter to take his spot in the rotation? It's number one question on Brewers fans these days. Also coming up on the show, the Brewers are not going to lay down for anybody. They may have clinched one of the top 2 seeds going into the postseason with that first round bye, but they are not going down without a fight. Also, who is this guy who's pitching for the Brewers today? We'll get to all that coming up next here on Locked On Brewers. Today's episode brought to you by FanDuel. Right now, new customers, you bet $5. If that bet wins, you'll get $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. Download the FanDuel app today. All right, this is the number one question regarding Brewers fans yesterday. I was on a few sports talk shows yesterday as a guest representing Locked On Brewers. And the question that dominated the conversation, Chuck, who is going to be that number 3 starter? Assuming Quinn Priester moves up to number 2, Freddie, of course, will stay at number 1. Woodruff, the lat strain. And again, it's the Brewers are talking right now that they're going to have somebody pitch Game 3. And Game 3 would not be until 2 weeks from tomorrow. I mean, it seems like a long time, right? 2 weeks from tomorrow. The Brewers would not play next week. They would have off all next week and not play until Saturday. Game 1 of the National League Divisional Series. Game 1 on a Saturday. Game 2 would be on a Monday. It would be a travel day on Tuesday, and they would kick up Game 3 either in San Diego or in Chicago against the Cubs. And that's where they would need someone in Woodruff's spot. All right, because they're going to move Priester up to number 2, but who would be the Game 3 starter? Now, yesterday, Pat Murphy was asked this about Woodruff possibly getting it. And they're not comfortable right now with the way Woodruff, with the way Mizorowski is throwing the baseball. They don't feel, there's not a lot of confidence there. I think they've lost a little confidence, and there's a little mistrust in throwing him into that spot, given how erratic Miz has been. Hard to believe he started the postseason, right? Not the postseason, the All-Star game, right? He didn't start the All-Star game. He was in the All-Star game. There were some rumblings he should have started the All-Star game, but he was the next big thing at the time, kind of like Skeens was last year. Hard to believe now, Miz, who was in the All-Star game, now we're wondering, man, can we even use this guy in the postseason? But I get it. They feel like he's got some things to work on and all that. But I will say this, don't always believe everything you hear from the organization. I've always said that, or not because the Brewers are liars. I'm talking about all sports teams. They're not going to tell us everything. They're not going to. Murphy, in no way was he going to say yesterday, well, yeah, we're going to start the Miz in Game 3. He's not going to let us know that. No, got to keep the other teams guessing. And we're all cool with that. But he did say, I don't know, I don't feel real comfortable with Miz right now. And I get it. The control. Last thing you want, okay, is a bad 10 minutes of Miz going out there and walking guys and throwing your whole season away. Right? But on the other hand, could the Miz come out there and be striking out people and looking more like the guy we saw right around the All-Star break and before, when he was obviously just amazing? So who would we feel comfortable with in Game 3? I feel like Quintana. There are some people out there who do not feel real comfortable with Quintana in a Game 3 situation, that maybe his numbers aren't as good as how he's really pitched. He's had a couple of blowouts. I think he's been great for what the Brewers have asked of him this year. I mean, look at, they pulled one over on David. Not they didn't pull one over on David Stearns, but David Stearns chose not to sign Quintana in New York with the Mets, who was a playoff starter. Okay, and chose not to start him, but instead he decided to give $17 million for the next 2 seasons to Frankie Montas, who was here last year. Now, Montas has just been brutal with the Mets. I wouldn't trust that guy in an exhibition game. So, in effect, then the Brewers, they traded Montas for Quintana. Not officially, but then Quintana became available. Mets, not many teams were interested in Quintana, and he came here for $4 million, $13 million less. And let's face it, the Brewers got more out of Quintana than the Mets out of Montas. But do we trust Quintana in a postseason game? I do. I would, if Quintana, you told me he was your game 3 starter, I'm good with that, right? I'm good with that. Let's see how it goes. Guy's got postseason experience. Big time pitcher, I think. Yeah, he's in his later years of being a major leaguer. But that's the guy I'd throw out there right now for game 3. After thinking about it for a while, that's the guy I'd go with. Quintana, go with my veteran in game 3. How about Chad Patrick? Would you go with Chad Patrick? I think he's a viable option. I really do. I think he is a viable option. Tobias Myers, I don't think so. I don't think Myers is going to be an option at this point. The idea I threw out yesterday was Ashby. Initially, I liked Ashby, but I would try Quintana. Could you go Ashby and Johnny Holstaff? That means, that's the expression of Major League Baseball. Everybody's available in game 3. You pitch Ashby, and you just roll out the bullpen and go from there. I mean, I'm okay with Ashby starting, but I'd like to see Quintana make that game 3 start. The one thing I don't want to see, and I see this in sports all the time, we get to the postseason, and everything that has happened during the regular season, all the game planning and all this, it goes right out the window. It goes right out the window. And before you know it, the Brewers are doing things, or I've seen this with other teams, doing things that it's like, wow, why are they doing this? Coming up with unconventional ideas, stuff that didn't get them to where they are right now. And I'm not saying thinking out of the box is necessarily a bad thing, but on this number 3 starter behind Peralta and our guy Priester, why not Quintana? He's been your 4 starter all year long. Get him in there. Get him into that rotation, then let him pitch. I want to go with the veteran in that game. All right. Now, we'll see. Ashby, he's hard to pass up. I really like Ashby. I really do. I think he's a future starter on this team. I like the way he throws the ball. He's a competitor out there, throwing heat. I love him. I really do. All hands on deck, maybe for game 3, if Quintana. But I mean, we shouldn't feel that way about Quintana, right? We shouldn't feel like, well, we got to have everybody ready in the bullpen just in case. No, but I think Quintana is my game 3 starter. I'm a big fan of using a 3-man rotation in the postseason anyway, right? I would just like to see the Brewers go with 3 guys and not even have to get to a 4th starter. And in some cases, you don't even have to with the days off and all that. In this first series, the Brewers would have 2 off days. Like I said, Saturday and Sunday would be an off day. Monday would game 2. Tuesday would be an off day. So Sunday and Tuesday would be off days. 1 second, my alarm is going off. Alexa, turn off that alarm in the other room. How about that? Got my Alexa alarm was on. The one time I needed Alexa, and she rings while I'm trying to do a podcast here. But anyway, the 3 starter, Quintana. Let's go with that guy. Let's write it out. And have Johnny Holstaff awaiting. I saw somebody put on Twitter, it kind of reminds me of a Sean Markham thing. And Sean Markham, remember he pitched in Game 6 of the postseason in 2011, and the Cardinals just crushed him. Brewers fell behind and were playing chase that whole game, and therefore end up losing Game 6. I'm tired of seeing teams, by the way, celebrating in Milwaukee. A season ender. Last year, Arizona. 2 years ago, Arizona. Last year, the Mets. I'm tired of seeing that. Brewers are the ones that need to do some postseason celebration. As Murphy said, when they had the celebration in the St. Louis locker room the other day, and them trashing the locker rooms, getting a lot of national coverage. I don't have a problem with it. The Brewers will pay up for that. Okay? Brewers will pay up for that. Yeah, a little surprised that organization let it go that far, but whatever. Okay. But Murphy says this. He says, we got to do this, the celebrations. We got a few more of these. And absolutely he does. And the Brewers do. Now, I'll say this. Somebody came at me on Twitter, and I get it. Because I've been saying the Brewers owe us this. They owe us a deep run in the postseason. And somebody said, well, Chuck, not this current group right here. Yeah, let me clarify this. The organization as a whole, the front office, the organization, yeah, even Murphy, they owe us a run in the postseason. These guys, a lot of these young guys, they've only been around here for a little bit, and I get it. But the fact that the Brewers rolled the dice, didn't do anything at the deadline, and this was the team they went with, and this was the team that was supposed to, I mean, it's got 95 wins, one more, and, you know, they're going to franchise record. But the Brewers didn't do anything really in the offseason last year and at the deadline, because ultimately winning postseason is what really matters. Not this Antanasio BS about, do I owe it to get to the World Series or a summer of fun for families? I think we all know that's baloney, right? Because we're sick of this, tired of the summer of fun. We need a postseason run. And even Antanasio talked about them making a deeper run. If you're any type of competitor, yeah. When he said that back at spring training, that drew a lot of ire from us Brewers fans and us in the media. No. The organization owes it to us to make a deeper run. Not necessarily Frelick and Terang and these young guys on this team and all these guys, but the organization. Because this was the team they put out there, and it looks great so far. And I feel like it's going to translate that. I feel like this year it's really going to translate to the postseason. If it doesn't, we got to figure out really what's the story if they can't make a deep postseason run. How can they win division titles but then get stumped? Now, it's huge that they got a first-round bye. Just huge. We'll get to that coming up next. Talk a little bit about Freddie Peralta. Freddie was great again last night. Man, that guy's amazing. 6 Ks on his way to 200 for a third time in his career. We'll get to that coming up next as well. Chuck Freimund here on Locked On Brewers. This episode brought to you in part by Nutrafol. You've probably seen millions of ads out there for hair growth products and thought, sure, like that stuff actually works. So those actors, is it fake and all that? I'll tell you this. There's so many products out there. It's hard to know which ones are actually going to do you anything. Nutrafol, give them a closer look. Nutrafol, #1 dermatologist recommended hair growth supplement brand trusted by over 1.5 million people out there. Not just hype, supplement, clinically tested that targets the root causes of thinning and shedding with a proactive approach. See thicker, stronger hair, less shedding, 3 to 6 months with Nutrafol. Give them 3 to 6 months and you'll see thicker, stronger hair. For a limited time, Nutrafol offering Locked On MLB listeners $10 off your first month subscription. Free shipping when you go to Nutrafol.com. Nutrafol.com. Enter that promo code LOCKEDONMLB. Nutrafol.com. Promo code LOCKEDONMLB. Number one dermatologist recommended. Not just height, thicker, stronger hair in just 3 to 6 months with Nutrafol. Good to have you along here. Chuck Freimund on Locked On Brewers. Thank you, all you everydayers out there, for making us your first listen to every day here on Locked On Brewers, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. It's the time of the show where I tell you how to get the podcast briefly here. If you're already watching us on YouTube, go to any audio platform down there where anywhere on the internet where you get audio podcasts, and we are there. We're the number one Brewers podcast on the internet because of you, great Brewers fans out there. We're on all of them. Search Locked On Brewers, hit the subscribe on that, hit the alert button. I'd alert you every time we drop an episode here on Locked On Brewers. And of course, if you're already listening to us on the audio platforms, go to YouTube, search Locked On Brewers, hit the subscribe button, hit the bell. That'll alert you every time we drop an episode here on Locked On Brewers. Always hit me up on Twitter, Chuck Freimund, Freimund. And I will always get back to you. May not be that second you write it, but I will for sure get back to you. Dropping this episode on a Tuesday morning. Usually it's overnight. I've been dropping these midday, especially with a late night last night. That game didn't get over to right around midnight. And I thought, man, be fresh in the morning, sleep on that loss a little bit, and move ahead. Well, the Brewers have dropped 3 or 4. Not that matters at this point. Yeah, you still want to go into the postseason playing some good ball and all that. But the Brewers are guaranteed a first round bye in the first or second round. That magic number for the top seed, they're fighting with Philly with that, is still at 3. Philly did not play last night. There was a light card in Major League Baseball last night. So as it stands right now, Brewers first round bye. If the season ended today, they would play the winner of the Cubs-San Diego series. That would be in Chicago. San Diego, with the win over Milwaukee last night, clinches them a playoff spot. But in all likelihood, that first round series between the Cubs and San Diego will be at Wrigley, and then the winner will come here a week from Saturday. The magic number is 3 for the top seed. There's also a magic number of 1 to clinch the overall top seed for the World Series, right? I mean, you still want to get, if you got to the World Series, you'd want to have 4 of those 7 games in Milwaukee. Back in the day, they would just flip-flop it. The American League one year would have 4 games. The National League would host 4 games the year after. They would flip-flop. So as far as home field advantage, I thought that was just ridiculous. Why wouldn't you just base it on records, which they do now? Well, we got to get there first, right? We got to win a playoff series. I'm just saying. Magic number for clinching home field advantage in the World Series over Toronto is at 1. Speaking of postseason odds, the Brewers right now, according to Vegas, they are 4th on the list of World Series odds to win the World Series. They are plus 750. Seattle is plus 670. Seattle is listed ahead of them. Philadelphia plus 500. And of course, the Dodgers plus 450. Dodgers sure don't play like a team that you'd want to feel comfortable betting on. Phillies, yes. Seattle, how's Seattle ahead of Milwaukee? So, World Series odds, it goes the Dodgers, the Phillies, Seattle, and Milwaukee. National League, who's going to come out of the National League? The Brewers are 3rd right now on the odds list. Philadelphia is at plus 225. Dodgers are plus 250. Milwaukee at plus 350. Yeah, one more win. One more win gets them the 96, ties a franchise record. Brewers now have to win all 5 of their remaining games to get to 100 wins. They have 5 games left. They have 2 in San Diego, off day Thursday, 3 coming up against Cincinnati. And like I said, the Brewers played that game last night like it was Game 7 of the World Series. I mean, they rolled it all out, right? Peralta was out there, busted it, 200 Ks for a 3rd time in his career. Congratulations to him. He's just been amazing. It would have been great to get him a decision. He's not going to get to 20 wins, obviously. But he left with a 3-1 lead. And the Brewers, you watched them play last night, and they're not And I know they still have something to play for right now. They more than San Diego still have to clinch that number one seed. The Brewers do. But I mean, they're playing with a lot of fight. And like I said, I was asked on a couple of shows yesterday, do I feel like the Brewers are just going to kind of lay down and cruise through these final games? You saw Murphy in the dugout. Did you see him talking to Durbin? Ever in baseball have you seen the manager tell a player, coach up a player, right? You got the coaching staff and all that talking to players. But in this case, Murphy is not only the manager of this team, he's the head coach. He's the head coach. He manages his team like he's coaching a college team. He was telling Durbin got thrown out at third base when that run scored early in the game, and the run almost didn't score. But Durbin got thrown out at third base. Murphy was talking to him about that, adamantly telling him about that situation. And I like that. Did you ever see Craig Counsell coach up a player? Did you ever see him bring a player or go over to a player? Ever. I've never seen him do that and tell him about a situation. Yeah, Murphy does that. He does it with these guys. And I love that. And maybe it's because it's a younger team that he could do this with. You know, maybe a veteran team he can't do. I mean, I don't think he'll ever pull Reese Hoskins over, even though Reese has only been in the a few years, a veteran over and say, hey, you know, this is the situation. Don't do that. Don't get thrown out at third base. But I love that. But Peralta, 5 innings last night, 76 pitches. Ran into a high pitch count in the first inning, but worked his way through. Oh, there's some concern about Churio. He's not having a very good September. He's hitting 200 for the month of September. He's 15 of 75. Double play ball with the bases loaded. Man, I thought he was going to come through top of the 11th inning. Hit it right up the middle. They were playing him just right. Step on second, throw to first. A rare double play ball that Churio hit himself into, and the Brewers had a bases loaded, 1 out. Could not score. Could not score. But I love the fact that this team is not going down without a fight, man. There is no laziness in the Milwaukee Brewers. We'll tell you about the starting pitcher for Tuesday night's game in San Diego next year on Locked On Brewers. The episode brought to you by FanDuel. NFL season is here. Playoffs coming up next week. FanDuel making sure they're ready for you for the kickoff coming up on Thursday night. And, of course, all the games this weekend, college as well. Right now, new customers, you bet $5, and if that bet wins, you get $300 in bonus bets into your account to use across the app. Live plays, you name it. You could use that $300 just by betting $5. And their live betting is fantastic, man. That live betting was bouncing all around in the postseason, in the game in San Diego last night. Some mad swings once you get to the extra innings. So you ready to play? Download the FanDuel app now. Visit FanDuel.com. Get started. FanDuel.com. Place your first $5 bet. Again, if that bet wins, you'll get $300 in bonus bets to use across the app with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Brewers, I see, are a pick'em tonight with Bruce Zimmerman on the hill, the left-hander who played 4 seasons with Baltimore. He has not appeared in a major league game since 2023 when he had 13 innings of work with the Orioles and pitched in 7 games. But he's going to start tonight. He's pitched well in the minor leagues. Got a 1.17 earned run average over the last 4 outings in the minors. I mean, this game tonight, not life or death by any means. Brewers are down a starter, obviously. And, of course, my other alarm goes off. So I don't have any problem. I do not have any problem with them going out and giving Zimmerman a run here. Not at all. They got one of the top. I really want the top seed. I really would love to play San Diego or the Cubs in that first round. But no worries. Bruce Zimmerman is going to give them a start. Who knows? First start. Maybe he comes out there and gives them one. I just don't want to exhaust the bullpen tonight. Right? And Zimmerman, what's he going to go? 4 or 5 innings? We don't need it exhausting the bullpen at this point. The Brewers did use a number of arms last night, right? So we'll see. McGill is going to throw a bullpen session in San Diego tonight. All goes well. He is going to be in line for throwing some live hitting coming up on Friday. It might be activated this weekend against the Reds. San Diego doesn't have anything to play for anymore, basically, because they clinched the playoff spot. The Reds will this weekend. The Reds get back in action tonight. They got the Cubs. I know they got the Pirates. They're trying to chase down that final wild card spot, trying to chase down. They've caught the Mets. Man, I'd love to see the Reds get in there. 3 teams from the NL Central. That would be awesome. And that's going to do it. Thanks for making us your first listen to every day here on Locked On Brewers, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. We are your team every day. Have yourself a great Tuesday, everybody.